So just to start, please tell me the year that you were born.
I was born in 1977. I've been married for 8 years
Yeah.
today.
Brad, you were not tempted before to have children and you're just not interested in having children, or is there a special reason why you didn't have children?
Oh, there's so many reasons. Let me take you back if you don't mind.
No.
So, um, as a child, I had a lot of friends that would talk about growing up and like getting married, having kids and whatnot. I never had that desire. I had to change my sister's diapers once in a while when she was a baby, and I did not like it. I was like, I don't want to play doll. Like, I don't want to carry around a baby doll. I was never the kid to have a baby doll that I wanted to dress up and carry around. I wanted to have stuffed animals to carry around, or I played with my Star Wars figures, or my Glamour Gals, or my Transformers, or my Thundercats and my Popples. I remember my mom did the whole entire Cabbage Patch rush back in the day to get me one of those for the holidays, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I wasn't like, oh, I got a baby to carry. I was just like, oh, okay, it smells interesting. And so growing up, I never had that desire, and I always had cats. I just absolutely in love with my cats. And I would teach them things. I would be like, okay, sit, wait for me, like roll over, like all the things people did with dogs, I tried to do with all my cats.
Hmm.
And other people may have said, oh, well, those are like parenthood instincts. I'm like, yeah, but for furry things that are cute and small. And so when my mom died, I was 16 years old. And I thought, well, that solidifies it. There's no way in the world do I ever want to raise a child without my mom. I don't want to do this by myself. I don't even want one, first of all. But now I'm 100% out. Like
Hmm.
that was it. I was like, there's no way. I don't want to do this by myself. Never in my mind did I think, oh, I wouldn't be by myself. I'd be with, a partner. My mind didn't go there. My mind said, no, my mom's not here. I'm not doing this. And
Hmm.
I guess because she raised us by herself for the
Hmm.
most part, and it was
Right.
just always the three of us, my sister, my mom, myself. And I thought, well, I can't do this by myself, and I don't even want to do this. So now,
Mhm.
no. So then when I went away to college, I met a few friends. Well, I had some friends, but we got closer that were also child free. Like, I don't want kids. My friend Val was zero population growth, and she talked to me and taught me all these things about how the population is claiming all of our resources. This planet cannot sustain the population growth.
Mhm.
And she was in the environmental clubs. And so I joined and I got to learn all about that. And so I became like a zero population growth advocate. And then I think it was 98 or 99. I don't remember the year. I actually created a graphic called the Frozen Ovaries Club for people that were not interested in having kids. And our slogan was keep them sleeping since whatever year that, you join. And so I was like gung ho on like, nah, we are freezing them like not to unthaw, but like they're done. And I just was always very adamant about that. Like, no, I am not contributing to this population. As things progressed in my life and I started to learn about more tragedies in the world, my sister got breast cancer,
Mhm.
relationships up and down, just the politics of everything, wars and whatnot. I'm like, wow, I am so glad I did not bring a child into this mess. I
Mhm.
am so glad that I did not bring any humans to grow up in a world that really can't support their needs. Because even for me, it's been hard. We didn't have it as easy as like the baby boomer generation, where technically one parent could work and one could stay home,
Right, right.
and we don't have that anymore. That changed with Generation X.
Mhm.
Like we both go to work and you both have to do everything you can just to pay your bills, to buy a home, to do all the comforts and travel that you want to do. You have to work really hard for it, both people, right? If you have two people, that is. And if you don't, you're not traveling or you're it's going to be a little harder. You're going to have roommates and stuff. You're not going to be buying your own home necessarily. It just got more financially unfeasible. The
Hmm.
more people would ask me, like, oh, why don't you want kids? I'm like, well, one, I've never wanted them, but two, I don't want to add to the population. And three, like I kept adding to my list. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it started off simple. I don't want them. But now I'm like, I can find a million reasons why I'm glad I did not have children. And when I went into teaching, it was like a 25th career for me. I've done everything under the planet. When I went into teaching, I decided that's enough. 180 kids every day. I get to go home and just pet my cats and listen to purring and just do nothing. Like, I don't, I have teacher friends that come home to like four or five kids and have to do homework and go to soccer games. And I'm like, oh my God, my brain is dead after teaching math for, 6 hours, like 7 hours. I can't even imagine going
Right.
home to that. Like, more power to them, but that is not the life I want. Like, call me lazy, I don't care. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to just come home and just chill. Like, I need to like settle. Like, I don't mind coming home and lesson planning. I don't mind coming home and like actually like grading and sitting there doing math work, but it's very taxing on your brain to like engage with that many people all day long. To come home and do that, I, I don't know. That sounds terrible to me. And I always get the question like, oh, but when you're older and you're not going to have anyone to take care of you, or you're not going to have anyone to give your stuff to, or you're not going to have anyone to watch grow up and celebrate things with when your olders are gone. And I'm like, honestly, I'm not so worried about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to plan for my retirement so that I'll have enough money to make it to my last days. And if I had to sell the house in order to put myself in a home or something, like
Right.
do that. I'm a teacher. I'm gonna have a pension, so I'm
Mhm.
gonna get paid after I'm done. I'm trying to set myself up in a way that I wish some of our parents had,
Right.
because they haven't set themselves up, not all of them at least, into like making sure that they don't need caring for. And I'm like, I don't want to care for a child. What makes you think I want to care for you? Like my
Right.
dad is like, well, when I'm old, I can move in with you and you could take care of me. I was like, no, I didn't sign up for that ever in my life. I'm not a caregiver. I
Hmm.
don't have it in me. And it sounds selfish, but I don't have that in me. And I don't want to be guilted into feeling like, oh, well, you cared for me, so I should care for you. Like, even my sister has that guilt. Like she's like, oh, well, I should care for my elders. And I'm like, they chose to bring us into this world. We didn't. That was on them. I don't know. Like, I don't have that instinct. And I think that's what, I don't know why I don't have it, but I think that's what separates me from people I see that have children. They
Hmm.
just have that natural instinct to like, oh my gosh, I want to care for another creature. I want to care for this being and raise it and see it smile and shine and go to dance recitals and stuff. And I see how happy they are, and I'm so happy for them. I have so many friends that have kids,
Right.
um, but I don't have that feeling. And every time somebody tries to hand me a baby, they're like, "Can you hold this for a minute?" And I'm like, "Uh, uh, somebody take this, please." Like, I don't want to hold a baby ever. Like, don't put a baby in my arms.
Do you
Kyle's,
have a niece or a nephew, or is this just
no,
friends' kids? Okay.
yeah, like my cousin just had a baby a few years ago, and she's like, "Do you want to hold him?" And I was like, "Okay." I didn't want to, but I felt like I should because he's my cousin. And I was like, "Okay." And I held him for a little bit, and she's like, "You look so awkward," because I wasn't like comfortably holding him. I was just kind of like, it's too fragile. I don't want this to break." And
It is
so
scary. It is scary at first.
yeah, it's one of those decisions I think you need to really want.
Yeah.
I don't think I mean, if you get into a situation where you decide, okay, I'm pregnant, I now want to keep this baby, be the best mother in the whole world. because you've made that decision. But if you wanted a baby,
Hmm.
that's where the baby's going to feel the most love, you
Oh
know?
yeah. Oh yeah.
And
The one of the women I interviewed, she was like, "Well, I'm selfish." And I'm like, "Can you answer my question again without using that word? Because if you were really selfish, you wouldn't care about having a child and then neglecting it."
right?
You know what I mean? Like just what
Right?
you were saying. Like I don't know if I'd call that selfish. You have a preference?
Other people sometimes call it selfish. We hear
Yes.
that a lot as women without children. Oh, you're not, bringing children into this world. You're being selfish. You're
Hmm.
not giving me a grandchild. You're not giving me like you'll hear that in this world as women without children. So that label is thrown upon us so much that we sometimes feel it and we own it. But
Hmm.
the truth is, I don't think it really has anything to do with being selfish other than okay, there are times where, yes, I just want to sleep and spend my money on things that I want.
Hmm.
I know those seem selfish, but that's the life I chose, you know?
Right. And if you were a guy, I don't think anybody would blink at
Right.
that. You know,
At
oh,
all.
do you want to sleep in on the weekend and spend money on yourself? It would be such a non-issue.
Exactly. Exactly. But for women, that's our perceived role in life is have a child. Unfortunately, we haven't left that patriarchy yet. We haven't left that judgment. And even women these days that are for that judgment carry it with them. And I hate to see that. I hate to see young people being so patriarchal and pushing that agenda forward when really it just needs to die. Like it was never accurate in the first place. It was
Mhm.
brought amongst us by kings and lords, like it doesn't need to exist.
Right. And then when you get into like the intricacies of a romantic relationship or living together with a man, a partner, like they're not probably going to pull their weight as much as you do in the housekeeping department and the childcare department and so a lot of like I mean one of my one of my old coworkers, she's like an older, I guess she's a young boomer or maybe a really old Xer, like right at the edge.
Mhm.
She said to me one day, she's like, I love my kids. She had 3 kids. She's like, I really love my kids. I wouldn't trade them for anything. But I had no idea that 3 kids would be this much work. It's
I mean,
like,
well,
I mean, and she divorced her husband like the minute she could because she was just so tired of that life. She was just so tired of taking care of everybody.
yeah.
And she went and rented an apartment and dated a younger guy.
There you go. Life change.
And I mean I don't want it to get to that point for anyone. Like
I mean, that's a lot of people I've met that are unhappy in their marriage stay together for the kids.
Mhm.
And I kind of think you don't have to stay together for the kids, but don't leave your kids. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Like stay nearby or stay in their life. Like, but don't stay in an unhappy marriage for the kids.
Mhm.
And then get divorced the moment it's over because then the kids are going to feel guilty. They're going to be like, "Oh, you stayed for me." Like what? You were
Mhm.
unhappy all this time. I never knew. Thanks for telling me. Um, but I also my influence is my mom, and she left the second she was unhappy, and I was 6. So I have that women's empowerment built into me of
Right.
like,
Right.
don't stand for unhappiness for a moment. Get the hell out.
Right.